So today we're going to have a look at a woman season. In Ayurveda, there are not so many information or chapters talking about women's health. Whenever we read in the text, it's understood that we can apply for men and for women all the different advice or the different preparations for the disease. But when it comes to women, there is one chapter in Charaka Samhita, chapter 30, Sutrastan, where he describes the woman menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle, and also later on in other commentators or also other writers of scriptures of Ayurveda, they also mention about the woman. So there are some information, depending on which century it was written, that is a little bit different, and it's more also in terms of how many days last for one cycle and all. And also it comes from the fact that we are all different and we all have different ways of having our period, when it starts, when it finishes. So if we go to the scriptures and we read, it just gives a broader image of how to look at the menstruation. So women's season, it's a big woman cycle. It's something that for us we have to handle from the beginning, from the puberty, when the period comes. That comes along with us until the menopause, and after the menopause also there are lots of hormonal changes and moods related to the moon, moods and related to the moon. It is believed that a woman's cycle it's a lunar cycle, so it is of 28 days. And normally, if it's a regular and normal period, every 28 days the period should come. And it should come at the time of the new moon, if we are totally aligned with the cosmos. So at the time of the new moon, the woman has the period, and at the time of the full moon, she has the ovulation. So that would be half circle, like for every 14 days, a peak of hormones come to produce either an ovum or to give the blood of purification, the blood for the menses. So let's have a look a little bit. What do we have? So just a recap. The cycle, the life cycle, is divided into three main phases. The first phase of childhood is considered as the Kapha phase because it's the phase of growth, the phase of creating, multiplying cells, tissues to grow from a baby until the time of puberty, more or less. And when the period comes, or when the sign sexual second sexual signs are showing for the boys or for the girls, the breasts, the menses for the girls, and for the boys also pubic hair and the testes that grow, then we enter the Pitta phase. And from the Pitta phase, there is always between the phase, it's not directly going from one Kapha to Pitta. There is always a sandhi, a junction between two seasons or two periods. So here around puberty, it will still, the teenagers will still feel a bit of Kapha. They are still growing till the age of maybe 28, 30. In Ayurveda, we believe that also the growth or to gain our adult body would be around when we are 28 or till 33. And then from the 30s, then we have our adult body. We're not going to grow anymore or we're not going to change mostly. So there will be between puberty, the 20s, it will still be slowly Kapha reducing and entering into a Pitta, and Pitta would be the time where actually one cell dies, one cell is born. So it's just a perfect transformation of the body, dying and creating at the same time the cells. So it's basically Pitta time, it's more the Pitta, the period that is stable, where we won't see so many changes compared to the Kapha that is growing fast, growing big. Pitta staying pretty much stable in the transformation. And then, so all this Pitta will be going into the time of menopause or andropause for the men. And again, we will have a Santé, we will have a junction between the Pitta and Vata, where during this, around the menopause and andropause, the people can feel a little bit of Pitta, but slowly their Pitta that they are used to feel is reducing. So maybe the frustration, the anger, and the impatience is reducing in the vitals. And to enter slowly into Vata, and Vata will be the one that can also induce more aging process because of the qualities of Vata. Vata being rough, dry, cold. This doesn't invite for a proper nourishment or lubrication of the body. So after menopause, there's a lot of dryness that is felt in the woman. And that's why also we're going to look after Vata during the menopause. We're going to see it later. And until we passed on to another dimension, then it will be the Vata phase, where slowly one cells die, but maybe is not replenished by a new one. And that's why the aging process also is more done during this period, the Vata period. So then, depending on who we are, depending on our constitution, depending on our prakruti, the constitution, we will have different ways of having the menstrual cycles. So a woman that is Vata dominant will have mostly the period that comes probably delayed, more than 30 days. And if it comes, it might be painful also. She might feel lots of pain before the period, like feeling that now the ovaries are working, the hormones are coming down to help the uterus to release the blood. So they will feel some kind of cramps in the lower abdomen or in the sacrum also, feeling like a tight sacrum, or maybe the tendons are a little bit more tight compared to usual, but there is a kind of rigidity or coldness that they will feel. And if it's bearable, if the pain is bearable, then for a Vata person, it's normal to experience that. The flow of blood will be also kind of scanty. It won't be so red either. It will be maybe a little bit darkish, brownish. And it can last only for a few days, again, because of the Vata characteristic that is dry, rough, and light. So when we have these characteristics that we apply to how the blood could come and in which quantity and which quality, all these characteristics also apply to the blood of the menses. So that's why the flow will be kind of scanty. Maybe they don't need to change so often during the day, and probably for 2 or 3 days. That could be the average. And the pain is usually just at the beginning when the hormones comes and gives a contraction to the uterus, so the linen inside can and stick. And also, whenever the period comes, there will, or just before the period, there will be a sensation of emptiness or anxiety or fear or maybe more worries. When it comes to the emotions, a Vata woman is more inclined to feel more stressed, more anxious, having sleeping problems or disturbance. She might wake up during the night and difficult to go back to sleep. And a few days before, she might feel also some retention and constipation. I would say constipation, it's quite normal for older women. There's always one day before the period comes that there is constipation or retention, or it feels that the stool comes a little bit harder, which is totally normal. It just tells you that within 2 or 3 days the period is coming. And when it comes, then you feel that whatever was still left in the bowel or not secreted properly, thanks to the period or the apana vayu, the air that allows all the downward movement, and especially the stool, urine, blood, and also for the delivery of the child or the sperm, is ejaculation. Apana vayu is the one that is responsible for this going out or downward movement. So for a woman, apana vayu is the one that, for a Vata woman, apana vayu is the one that will give her the constant bowel movement every day. So having Vata dominant, it's always a little bit impaired. That's why the Vata people have more retention or constipation. Or because this movement doesn't happen, the blood also is still holding in and not coming out. So we need to stimulate this apana vayu to make sure that the downward movement happens. Pitta woman will have a different way of expressing her woman's season. She will be having the period more on a regular basis, maybe probably 28 days or always a little bit earlier. It can be coming on the 24th day or 26th day of the menses. But otherwise it's quite regular. And when the blood comes also, it's quite abundant. So she has a flow that is more than the Vata for sure, and that can last between 4 to 6 days. And when the blood comes, it has a bright red color. Blood is associated to Pitta in terms of the qualities of the characteristics of the blood. They are similar to Pitta dosha, the same characteristics. So whenever the period comes, it will have also the same, a little bit of smell. It will smell a little bit stronger than to someone else. So a Pitta woman also, during the ovulation or during the period, will have a body odor that is a little bit stronger than the others. There will be maybe a sensation of heat or warmth in the body also during the time of period, or maybe a few days before. Feeling hot, not hot flashes, but having this feeling of having a red cheek, sweating a lot, or just do a little bit of exercise and the body feels warm very quickly. Or you give a hug to someone and you feel the body temperature is warm. So if someone tells you, oh, you warm, that's the heat also produced by the Pitta in the body. You might not feel warm, but the others feel you warm. The Pitta woman has, because of this heat, and if the food was not appropriate, it might give also lots of problems with pimples or the rashes on the skin. So acne is always related to a Pitta condition. So Pitta women have more tendency, especially during puberty, they will have more tendency to have lots of pimples on the cheeks, on the forehead, or on the shoulders. Or when it comes to the stool, it will be more towards loose motions or watery motions. And with the mood swings, also a few days before the period, mood swings that are quite strong. The Kapha woman will be different. because of the water element that is dominant, water and earth element that is dominant in this Prakruti, in this constitution, the woman so has, like, we know that the Kapha people have a metabolism that is slower than the others. So it takes a little bit more time to do things, and the same with the period. If it's balanced, it will be normal and come every 28-30 days. And if it's a little bit impaired or a little bit aggravated, then also it will be delayed. And delayed could be up to 45 days, 2 months or so. When it's above 45 days, then we definitely need to do something, because then it might show a condition of PCOD, polycystic ovarian disease, where the cysts, the ovaries have many cysts, and so it prevents the proper secretion of hormones that allow the menses to come. So normally when the period doesn't come for 2 days on a regular basis, there's probably an issue around the ovaries that have this condition of polycystic ovaries. So this has to be addressed, and a Kapha woman has the tendency to create more cysts than anyone else of the constitution. So they're going to the gynecologist and do a sonography to check the state of the ovaries is always a good indication, especially when there is delay in the menses. The period when it comes, it will come with a blood that is quite thick, also the same characteristics of Kapha characteristics, thick, heavy, maybe some clotting, not too much, just like a healthy clotting, because otherwise it's also a condition if it's too much clotting. And the period might last between 5 to 7 days. And in the blood won't be so red compared to the Pitta blood. It will be kind of pinkish red, a little bit lighter in color. Or you might find also some kind of stain or some kind of mucus. It might be a little bit mucousy when it comes out, so slimy. Then the Kapha woman wouldn't have so much appetite the few days before the period come, but there's definitely a need and a craving for sweet at this time, and a feeling of wanting to eat also. The hormones that are slowly coming down wants to take with them lots of sugar to go down. And so lots of craving for sweet or greasy or deep fried, anything that is heavy basically, and that just create lots of heaviness in the stomach. That would be what the Kapha woman would love to do. Because of that, the fire that is normally needed to inject or to start the menses going to reduce again, because the body also has to deal with the digestion of the food. So it's going to slow down again the metabolism. So that's why it might be delayed by a few days. So this feeling of heaviness and feeling apathic and feeling also not good in the body, not loved, will also give another sense of heaviness in the body. A Kapha woman has the tendency to feel also with lots of water retention in the body, or in the ankles, or in the fingers. The breasts are also distended and feels tight and painful sometimes. So like we said earlier, on the new moon, if the woman is aligned with the energies from the universe, then she should have the period during the new moon, and then at the time of the full moon with the ovulation. And so we're going to see the different phases and how it relates also in Ayurveda, which dosha activates your different hormones in your body. So during the first phase of menstruation, so let's say during 3 to 7 days, we make it broad between Vata Prakruti and Kapha Prakruti, then we have about 3 to 7 days of menstruation. And during that time, it's from the first day of menstruation that we count the time of, we count the days for the menstrual cycle. So day 1 of a menstrual cycle is the first day of menses, first day of period. And so it's a Panavayu, the air that allows the downward movements and allow the blood to come out of the uterus, that induces this movement of the blood coming out. And then after the period is over, slowly another hormones will come and start kicking to create a growth inside the ovaries. The follicle is now creating from the end of the period all the way to the moment where the ovum ruptures and come out of the ovary. That will be the time of follicular phase, which is the phase of, in both ovaries, there are different follicles that are working, and they will make a mature ovum. And this mature ovum will come out on around the 12th day till the 16th day, normally. So all the phase where slowly the follicles are going to grow and come to maturity and allow the ovum to be created, that would be related to which dosha? That create the growth and create the increase of mass and tissue? Kapha. Mm. So the first phase of the period, from after the period is over until the ovum comes out of the ovary, that will be the Kapha phase. But depending on the woman, if they are Vata, Pitta or Kapha, they might have an ovulation also, an ovulation time that differs. Normally we say it's around the 14th day that the ovulation occurs. But in Ayurveda, if we want to follow a natural contraception, we're going to be careful from the time at the end of the period, because it might be that the ovum comes out faster than planned, and then we can be pregnant soon after the period or until the 16th day. So the first time, the follicular phase, it's always a phase that is quite fertile for a woman. So if she wants to be careful during that time, she will take all the necessary conditions to make sure, if she wants a baby, to be pregnant, and if not, to protect herself. And the men can ask also the woman, in which phase are you? They are not the only one to deal with that. And so there are secretions from the cervix or from the vagina that will tell also if we are coming, how fast are we coming to the fertile time, or for the ovum to be ready to be conceived. And for this, it's quite easy to spot or to notice. Would be every morning after the first pee, you can check just outside the vagina and see what are the secretions that come. So if it's kind of scanty, just a little bit of white coming, very less, that is just after the period. So now the uterus is clean and all, there's not so much secretions from the cervix or from the vagina. It's not lubricated at all, basically. So there might be a feeling of being a little bit more dry than usual, or more itchiness. When there is dryness, there's also some kind of itchiness because the skin is so thin and delicate. If it's dry, it can tear apart and creates itchiness. So during the phase after the period, it's always good to put some coconut oil or some oil to prevent a kind of dryness. So the secretion, vaginal secretion, will be quite scanty. And slowly along the days that increase, going towards the time of ovulation, then this secretion will become thicker and thicker until it becomes creamy. And when it's creamy, it is still a sign for the woman that she's not fertile at all. Because here, if the sperm comes, will get lost, glued, and out. We are not ready for you, there's nothing inside. So from here, there is no possibility of conception. And then when we come now towards more like from the 10th day, 11th, 12th, slowly from the thickness or creamy secretion, it will become more and more watery, or give a sense of feeling wet, or a sense of not sliding, but like a little bit of wetness. So this watery secretion now indicates that everything is ready to allow a good slide through the cervix into the uterus and to go up. So now the fertility starts, and the woman feels probably also a little bit more raised and horny. That also a sign that the hormones now are ready to release the ovum. And so when the ovum is released, then we have this egg white that comes out for maybe 1 or 2 days, or maybe 3 days maximum, where when you touch it, it makes like an egg white, like this. It's a very thick, lubricative secretion, and that says that now the ovum is ready to be fertilized. So during this period and this period, have to be very careful. And then once the ovum has been released, so for two days or maybe 3, we have this egg white thing, and then slowly, in terms of secretion, it's going to go back to scanty, and then the period comes. So all along the month, we will have almost no vaginal discharge, slowly becoming creamy and then watery, and now highly viscous and egg white, and then slowly it will thicken again and become creamy, and again kind of dry, and the period comes. So that's also a natural way for the conception to see how we are in our cycle. Then after, whenever we use any contraceptive, either copper tea or hormones, like the contraceptive pills and all the secretions also will be altered. It won't be the same. So it makes it, normally, if we use any contraceptive, it's because we don't want children, so we can't follow naturally the cycle. But it might not be exactly the same if we are if we don't use anything. So then this follicle, the follicles now comes out, and the ovulation occur. So then it will be the Pitta time. We need a burst of fire to allow the hormones to come down. And like we saw at the beginning also, Pitta is related to the digestive system in terms of transforming and cooking and using the fire to digest, but it's also linked to the endocrine system. So all the hormones in the body are linked with Pitta. So this release of ovum is also the Pitta time. And during this time, just before the period, or the ovulation and the time of ovulation, you might feel also a little bit different in a sense of you feel brighter, you feel more confident, or you feel more strength, or you feel more confidence in the sense of knowing what you want, and having more self-conscious about beauty, about hormones, like how they work on you. You feel more attractive. So that's also the brightness of the Pitta that you are experiencing at that time. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that the first part, the Kapha phase, the hormones that is linked to this increase and growth of the ovum will be the estrogen. So the estrogen in the body will be the one that allows the growth or create lubrication or create multiplications of tissues in the body. Estrogen will always be linked to the one that creates bulk. And after the ovulation happens, slowly the ovum reaches inside the uterus and realizes there's nothing for the little ovum to happen. So there is instant or a slow death happening in the uterus. And if you feel, after the ovulation, a few days after, or maybe a week after, you feel down, you feel, just feeling down or feeling depressed and all, it's maybe not you in your mind or something you did, it's maybe you're receiving the message from the ovum of, died. Then after we come to the phase where the body is not quite sure that the ovum is not fertilized. So it's creating the linen inside the uterus to prepare the bed for the fertilized ovum. So this will be the Vata phase that is linked to the progesterone. The progesterone will be the hormones that create this linen inside the uterus and increase the blood supply into the linen to make sure that the ovum can stay, or if it's not conceived, to have the period. So this progesterone will have its peak just after the ovum dies and start creating now the linen inside the uterus. And so, depending on all these different secretions, first the estrogen. So I don't know if you realize at the beginning of your cycle, for example, or just after the period, or during the period, that all of a sudden now you gain energy and you feel good. And if you were starting any project or you had any new activities and all, you have a rebound of goodwill and good mood and good strength to carry on doing everything, because you are also carried by the estrogen that is proliferating, giving you lots of good and beautiful energy. And then this energy has been used really nicely to do things. And during the time of ovulation, you admire what you did and you are satisfied. Pitta is happy because me, I do, and I did this and all. And look at me, how beautiful. In the text of Ayurveda, they give the signs of how do you see from outside that a woman is ovulating. And it's a few tips for the men to know that a woman is ovulating. It would be, she has red, pink cheeks, the lips slightly bigger than usual, and a little bit more bulgy, and they are a lot more flirtatious than usual. But for a change, it's the woman that goes towards the man. It's not the opposite. Because normally it's more the opposite happening. But here it's the only time, here it's the only time where the woman feels an attraction or go towards any... And also it's really the work of hormones, because it's not that the woman is attracted to a certain kind of man or to the person with who it's any sign of male
energy or whatever.
It can be a little bit of hair on the hand and feels like, ooh, attractive. Yeah. It's signs that normally for you as a woman, you wouldn't look at or you wouldn't consider during any other phase of the period. But at the time of ovulation, any male signs will feel like very attractive, appealing, and then you fall in or you fall out or you don't do. But at this time, it's purely hormonal and I would, like bestial in a way. It's not something that you can control. Mm. So it's a very strong and powerful hormone change. And so during estrogen we have this, then at the ovulation, look at me, how bright I am. And after, during the Vata phase with the progesterone, slowly the energy reduces and then this ovum that was not conceived then dies and the mood becomes a little bit more, I would say, heavy or difficult to manage. The progesterone will be linked to Vata. So it can give also lots of issues in terms of body-wise. It could give the tenderness in the breast, pain in the lower abdomen, some gas in the intestine, abdominal distension, and mood swings. So that's why the more we go towards the time where the period is due, the less hormones we have, and come a point of no hormones. And that's where the woman is weeping against the wall. Now she's not driven by anything. There's not even hormones inside to tell her what to do, either to be creative or slowly to reduce the work because she didn't conceive, so it doesn't need to be prepared. And there's a moment of statu quo. And finally, she realizes, no, I need to go for a run. If I run, I will make the period come. Because the hormones for the period are also secreted by a burst of fire. So if we have the tendency to have delayed period, then it's always good to go for a run, to run a marathon, or to do some cardio exercise a little bit more intense. We want to increase the fire and increase the blood circulation to make a panavayu release against the... And then the peak of hormone, a new peak of hormone comes and the period comes. And again, we start the cycle. And again, we are happy and we are good with everyone and give kisses to the kids and the friends and hugs. And yes, we're going to carry on with this project. And again, we are here. Month after month after month, we are going to be able to have this opportunity to observe all this movement and see how much we are influenced by these hormones here. Because
the menopause.
Yeah. Until menopause. And it's during your 40s when you manage now your hormones and you can handle them quite well, that now you're going to have a new challenge. Menopause comes. And
Let's have fun.
Let's talk about it. So yeah, don't feel guilty too much. Just explain, just express in which phase you are, because it tells a lot. And for the people around you also, they might tell you, oh, it's because you are in that phase. Don't be grumpy about it. They love you so much that they also can follow you in your phase. So to make sure that these hormones also are flowing well, so it starts from the brain, from the pituitary gland. So that's why also all the hormonal glands are linked to Pitta. So we're going to make sure that our Pitta, even if it's small, if it's the third dosha in our constitution, it's important because it's the one that makes our menstrual cycle regular, healthy, and with a good flow and all. So Pitta, or the hormones, they don't like irregularity. So in your lifestyle, if you take your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, at least those three about the same time, then also you create a kind of movement of regularity into your body. Eating food that is not balanced, or junk food, or too oily, or too heavy, too greasy, or difficult to digest will also create lots of blockage all the way for the hormones to go down, and might be some congestion on the way that prevents a proper flow of hormones into the stream. Your lifestyle also, if you are under lots of stress or lots of pressure or family issues that create also some lots of emotions, then it will create trouble with the hormones. If you move a lot, if you travel a lot from one country to another, or from one climate to another, from a season to another, constantly, these constant changes also affect the secretions of hormones. If you work too much for too long hours, without taking breaks, without drinking water to create some pause, also will create some trouble. And then we saw that the fire is necessary to release the ovum from the ovaries and to release the blood for the menses. So whenever we do things that are drying excessively our body, so exposure to the sun, too much sun for too long could be also an issue. Excessive physical work or excessive cardio exercise, running for too long or too many hours every day for many days, weeks, months can also alter the hormones. So now when we come to the phase of where slowly the progesterone is also reducing and the no hormone time, so this premenstrual syndrome, PMS, will happen. And for the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, they will always have the same kind of emotions or moods or manifestations in their body that is related to Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. A Vata woman will feel more anxious, will feel more worried, will have more problem to sleep at night, or if she wakes up during the night, it's difficult also to fall back to sleep. She will have also lots of issues with the energy. Doesn't really know how to manage or control the energy. She might feel like hypersensitive, hyperactive, as if like she's on a speed train and she can't control the timing. Or the schedule becomes overloaded and doesn't know where to, like a headless chicken, doesn't know where to focus or what is the priority. So this also induces more stress and more hyperactivity. Maybe also feeling more cold. At that time she might feel that she needs to protect herself, or the coldness from the floor also might be felt a little bit more. When she takes a shower, she realizes she needs hot shower instead of cold shower. And slowly, some pain also comes towards the end of the menstrual cycle, just before the period comes. Then maybe pain or rigidity, stiffness in the joints when she wakes up in the morning. Maybe more cracking in the joints also. Definitely more dryness. And lower abdomen and around the sacrum, some tightness, as if there was a sensation of pulling, cracking, like it doesn't feel comfortable at all, like a dismantling feeling sensation. So then she's going to spend 4 days in a hot tub bath with rose petal and oil. And yeah, she needs warmth and and something also oily to reduce this pain or to reduce this dryness. We will always give the opposite of what is felt. So the Pitta woman, you will be aware straight away because she will be grumpy, moody, and maybe short-tempered, quick, sharp, and difficult to contain. She will be a volcano all along the time of the PMS. And a sense of guilt also, because she feels guilty of having these emotions, and that all the people in the surrounding are suffering of short-tempered, and also on top of it, like, I'm not perfect. Why? How come I'm not perfect? Like 2 weeks ago I was with the ovulation. What's going on? So you observe the nature every time. That's why it's nice to have this knowledge of Ayurveda with us, because every time, every day, we will have a different manifestation in us, in the physical, in the vital, or in the mental. And so to grasp this nature right now that is affecting us, then if we need to change something, then we will do so, because we know it's Pitta, so we go back to the table and say, oh, when Pitta is acting and disturbing me, I need to do cooling, breathing, grounding, and bucket of water on my head, and I will feel much better. Or if it's Kapha, so with the Kapha, we'll be weeping and feeling ugly and feeling fat, but also finishing the cake because nobody will have it, and more and more. And yes, lots of tiredness and lethargic feeling, and wanting to stay in bed longer, or wanting to go to bed in the evening from 7 o'clock because there's no point to stay up anyway. Let's go to bed and watch a romantic movie. That would be the typical Kapha. And the Kapha, you're feeling lots of water retention in the body. But to finish with the Pitta, just to go back, the Pitta woman also will have, just before the period, a little bit of pimples maybe, or just one pimple during one big one, and kind of inflamed and painful. So what to do? So the Vata woman in a hot bath or taking hot shower, but more in a hot bath. First, she puts some oil on the body. She goes to the bathtub and have a nice hot bath. There are all those herbs here are the major that can be used also to rebalance the hormones, or whenever we know we have a deficiency. Maybe the ovulation comes too early, too quick, or the ovulation is delayed, or the period is delayed. We can use those herbs that will help. They have specific work onto the hormonal changes. Guduchi is one of the best in the sense of Guduchi covers a huge spectrum of everything, because it is one of the good plants that helps Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So no matter which dosha is in balance, and you're not quite sure which one is in balance or how to perceive it, then you take Guduchi. You can be sure that it will help you in all the different senses. And it has also a way of calming the nervous system, and more calming on the emotional aspect. So to reduce all these emotions just before the period or 8 days after the ovulation, that could be a good herb to take. So if you have it fresh in the garden, you can eat the leaves or the shoots. Shatavari, it's also one of the very good plants that I would say for Pitta and Vata, not for Kapha. Shatavari, it's the Indian asparagus, and it is very good for the estrogen, so to increase the estrogen production, or when a woman is breastfeeding, to increase the production of milk, breast milk, and for the Vata to give a little bit more flesh to the skin or to the body. And for Pitta, it's also cooling and calming. Yashti Madhu, licorice, you can have it also for the Vata and Pitta, especially. It gives a good lubrication and it has the sweet taste. So Kapha, let's say Kapha could have it also instead of eating some cake, could have some licorice to chew or to eat, but will probably not eat it too much because it will give quickly nausea to the Kapha person. Then Amla, we always want to use Amla because it's full of vitamin C, and vitamin C it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, so it gives you also a good flow of energy, a good flow of hormones, and help you all along the menstrual cycle. Here I'll give you a few list of gems you can wear also all along the different period of the menstrual cycle. Just to help also to rebalance the energy, or to feel more centered, or to feel protected, or to improve your digestive capacity and all.